You've been hearing this from some of the videos above, but Aquinas and his fellow theologians of the 12th and 13th century represent a crucial moment in the history of philosophy, one in which the manuscripts of Aristotle are suddenly surfacing in the West. They've been reintroduced here by the Arabic world. And so Aquinas is faced with a monumental intellectual undertaking, namely to incorporate the incredible theoretical frameworks of Aristotle and the Greeks into a rich religious scriptural tradition here. So we've got to incorporate these two items into a coherent worldview. And Aquinas has to thereby combine the conceptions of human nature that are in Aristotle and the rest of the Greeks with a conception of human nature that's been presented in the Bible and in the works of St. Augustine and other early Christian thinkers. So in this module, we'll focus on just one question presented in Aquinas' magnum opus, the Summa Theologia. This question concerns free decision or free will, or however you want to translate libero arbitrio. So let's turn to the text here. And I want to focus this module on the first article of question 83 and to say a little bit about why it matters. So first of all, the problem of free decision for the medievals is not anything like the modern problem of free will, which goes something like this. If the world is governed by the laws of physics, then every movement of my body is determined by some prior physical cause. And every physical cause is the effect of some previous physical cause, and so on, like an infinite domino chain. And in this necessary chain of physical causes, it's unclear, on the modern view, how I can ever bring about my own actions that I freely choose and are determined by me. Now, this modern problem of free will is not a problem for the medievals because the laws of Newtonian mechanics were unknown to them. The medievals thought of the natural world in this Aristotelian way that we've been talking about in the past several modules, namely as containing things that are of natural kinds, and so containing things that have certain natures that incline them to act in the ways that are distinctive of that kind. So in contrast here, the question of free decision for Aquinas is really motivated by three problems. And each of these problems is seen in the additional objections to Article 1, which we've got displayed here. So consider objections 2 and 3 here. Let's look at these first two. In objection 2, Aquinas writes, "It belongs to anyone with free decision to will and not to will, to act and not to act. But this does not belong to humans, for Romans 9:16 says, 'It does not belong to him who wills to will, nor to him who runs to run.' Therefore, human beings do not have free decision." What's at issue here? The issue, I think, is explained in part by the following objection, objection 3. And here Aquinas quotes one passage from Aristotle's Metaphysics, namely that what is free is by itself, is a cause of itself, and a passage here from the book of Proverbs, which says, "The heart of the king is in the hand of God, and he, God, namely God, turns it wherever he likes." In these quotes, Aquinas is grappling with the problem of God's determinism. That is, if God is the cause of everything in the world, then he's the cause of your and my actions. And if that's true, then it seems like I'm never the cause of my own actions, and you're not ever the cause of your actions. And this is a big problem because if I'm not the cause of my own actions, then I can't be held responsible for what I do. I cannot, it seems, be sent to jail or to hell. Now the second related problem can be seen above here in objection 1, which reads as follows. "So whoever has free decision does what he wills, but a human being does not do what he wills. For Romans 7:15 says, 'For this good that I will, I do not do, but that evil that I hate, I do.' Therefore human beings do not have free decision." Okay, so the idea here is that if we humans are creatures of sin, if we do not do good but instead the evil we hate, then how can we be responsible for our wrongdoings and therefore be deserving of punishment? Aquinas and other medieval theologians need to figure out how we can both be born sinners and yet responsible for the sins we commit in life. Now the third, also related problem can be seen here in objection 5. Let's scroll a little bit down. Here in objection 5. Here Aquinas quotes Aristotle, the philosopher as he calls them with such reverence. And the passage is here from the Nicomachean Ethics, and it reads, "Of whatever sort one is, so the end seems to him." Um, and this is to say that whatever sort of person we each happen to be, whatever personality we may have, this seems to come to us by nature. We're born that way, as Lady Gaga would say. And if we're born with certain personalities, then the question is, how can we possibly act? Then the issue is that if we act in light of our personalities, then how we act cannot be the result of free decision. So then, we've raised a number of objections about whether or not we possibly have the ability to choose how we act in life. So the answer for Aquinas can be found in his reply, and he just states quite clearly, human beings have free decision. For otherwise, he says, counsel and encouragement, commands and prohibitions, reward and punishment would all be pointless, right? So he's saying that, we have all these, we have all of these facts about how we can behave, and about how we reward and punish one another, how we command and prohibit, counsel and encourage, and without the possibility of freely choosing how to act, these things would be pointless. And for Aquinas, I should add, all of this follows from the very fact that we're rational. And this, of course, is an ancient Greek answer. We saw it in Plato and in Aristotle. Now, Aquinas does say something that I want all of you to be able to do in your philosophy papers, or any arguments for that matter, which is to not only defend your position, which he does through the course of this paragraph, but also to refute the arguments of your opposition. So you can see here in what follows here in Ad 1, Ad 2, and following, Aquinas refutes each of the objections that he's raised over here. Let's consider Ad 2, where Aquinas responds to the second objection, which concerned how we can have free decision if God is the cause of all of our thoughts and actions. And Aquinas says, the apostle's claim should be understood as meaning not that a person does not will and run by free decision, but rather that free decision is not sufficient for this unless moved and aided by God. So what's the thought here in this refutation of objection 2? The thought is that we and God are co-causes of each of our thoughts and actions. And this too is an ancient idea, at least in a sense. Remember that Aristotle identified 4 basic causes, 4 co-causes we might say, that gave a complete account of any natural thing. Here Aquinas sees God as a kind of cause, what he calls in Ad 3, which is in your reading on the next page, he calls a first mover. God is a first mover. And this business about the first mover is a concept from Aristotle's metaphysics. And I don't want you to worry too much about what that means, but the basic idea is that God causes us to be the sorts of creatures who have free decision. And although God always, in this sense, causes us to act, this does not deprive us of free decision. In any case, I hope you can begin to see just how deeply committed Aquinas is here to harmonizing Christian and Greek thought into a coherent worldview.